the session finish at 5:15, and then after 10-minute break, we will hear keynote speech from Wayne Holmes starting from 5:25. I would like to ask for your understanding and patience. Okay, then let's start the TRACK-A3, titled Digital Platform Connecting Everyone, Every Technology for the Future Education. EdTech shows many possibilities to realize tailored education, immersive learning, and informal learning that our education has long desired. As digital transformation becomes more important, expectations are high for innovative technology, and for this new education, it will be more fundamental to connect people, support cooperation through communication, and gather content and data in one place to build a foundation for optimal education. Now we'll have a discussion with three speakers about whether we can expect a whole new education in a hyper-connected space of digital platform, which brings together comprehensive technology, data, content, and education providers and consumers. So let me introduce three speakers. First, we have Jung Lee, Team Leader of Digital Infrastructure Establishment Team of Future Education System Transformation Division of Ministry of Education. And the second presentation will be delivered by Director Colin Marson of Google for Education. And Speaker Colin Marson was unable to participate due to personal reasons, so the presentation was inevitably conducted as a pre-recording. And lastly, we have Mr. Dong-Jun Kim, teacher at Soraba Elementary School, here in our studio. I would like to ask for your active participation and your comments and questions. So we do have a surprise event handing prizes to the people who post questions in our chat box. So we will move on and listen to the first presentation. So we have Mr. Jung Lee, Team Leader of Digital Infrastructure Establishment Team of Ministry of Education. And he will give a presentation titled The Development Status of Integrated Platform for Education. His presentation is titled Development Status of Integrated Platform for Digital Teaching and Learning. And he majored in computer science and engineering at Korea University, and he introduced operated the EduFine, enhancing accounting transparency. And then he also worked at the Gangwon National Universities and obtained 2 patents for class application system, smart attendance management system, and classroom seating arrangements. And he has joined the Ministry of Education's Digital Infrastructure Establishment Team of Future Education System since June 2021. So I am sure that he has a lot to share.
네, 반갑습니다.
Nice to meet you.
디지털
I'm a team leader of Digital Infrastructure Establishment Team of Future Education System Transformation Division. I would like to talk about the status of implementing integrated digital platform for teaching and learning. So I will talk about the background and purpose of digital teaching and learning integration platform, and then share with you the direction of digital teaching, followed by in the post-COVID era, EVS conducted a survey. Let me show you this short video clip.
네, 여기서 잠시 영상을 보고 진행을 하도록 하겠습니다.
We will look at the video clip.
불확실한 등교 일정. 코로나19로 인한 위기 상황에도 공교육은 지속되어야 하는데요.
처음이라서 좀 이게 어떻게 접근해야 될지 잘 모르겠는데
이게 귀로 들어오는지 내 스치기는 하는지 그게 좀 어려웠던 것 같아요.
포스트 코로나 시대에 맞춰 새로운 수업 방식을 기대하는 교사들도 늘고 있습니다. 변화가 요구되는 학교 교육 현장. 학생과 교사 모두의 노력이 필요한 시점입니다. 네트워크 기반의 온라인 수업과 상호소통 기반의 오프라인 수업의 결합. 블렌디드 러닝이 주목받는 것도 그 때문입니다.
네, 블렌디드 러닝에 대한 이론적인 부분은 자료를 참고해 주시기
So you
바랍니다.
can refer to the material for the theory of blended learning.
국정 과제를 설정을 해서
The government
디지털 교사 학습 통합
has
플랫폼을 진행을 하고
designated the
있습니다.
government
국정
agendas, and as a part of the
다시
government project,
도약하는
we are
대한민국,
pursuing this
함께
digital
잘
platform
사는
project.
국민의
And the
나라입니다.
vision is Korea
국정목표 네 번째
taking a
부분은
leap forward
미래
again
분야입니다.
as a united nation of
자율과
people
창의로
living in
만드는
together in
담대한
harmony.
미래를
So we
준비를
want to,
하고 있습니다.
we are preparing for a bold and bright future.
네, 다음은 이 국민과의 약속 15번째입니다.
And this is the
창의적
15th
교육으로 미래 인재를 키워내겠습니다.
part of the promise to our citizens. It is raising the future generation through creative education. This is promise number 15. So as such, government is preparing for this future by designating it as one of the national
국정
tasks.
과제 세부 과제입니다.
And this is a specific
81번으로
task.
100만 디지털 인재 양성
If you look at task
부분입니다.
number 81, it
디지털
has to
인재란
do with training 1 million
디지털
digital
세상을
experts. And the digital
즐기면서
talents
디지털 도구와 데이터를
are the
활용하여
people
창의적인
who
활동을
use the
하는
digital
사람으로
tools
디지털
and
인재라고
technologies
저희들이
to engage
정의하고
in
있습니다.
creative activities.
가정 목표와 기대 효과는 자료를 참고해 주시기
Please
바랍니다.
refer to the materials for
100만
the
디지털 인재
expected
양성
impact.
중에서도 주요 내용으로 5번째 디지털 인재 양성 인프라 구축 부분입니다. 여기에
And this
여러
has to do
세
with
가지의
building the
과제가
digital
있지만 그중에서
infrastructure and
디지털
enhancing
교수 학습
these
통합 플랫폼
software and
구축이
AI capabilities. And part of that is about
다음은
building digital infrastructure
2022년 개정
platform.
교육 과정 부분에 있어서도 비전으로 포용과
And you
창의적
can see that it
창의성을
is
갖춘
included as a
수도적인
part of
사람을
the vision.
비전으로 설정하고 있고
And
개정
the
중점으로 디지털
amendment that was
AI
made
교육
in
환경에
the
맞는
educational
교수 학습
policy.
및 평가
So
체제를
teaching
구축하기
and
위한
learning, and in order to
준비를
build
하고
the assessment system, the preparation
미래
is
교수 학습
underway.
통합 플랫폼의 방향 부분입니다.
This has to do
먼저
with the
수업
direction of
준비를
the
할 때
future teaching and learning
지금까지는
platform.
시간표
Until now, when
정보라든지
preparing for
학생
the
정보,
class,
그다음에
like curriculum
과제
information
정보
and the student
등을
information
수기로
or the
선생님이
subject
별도로
information, homework
입력을
information
했지만
had to
이제
be recorded
디지털 교수 학습
manually,
통합
entered
플랫폼이
manually
구축이
by the
되면
teacher. But
나이스와
with
연동을
this
하기 때문에
learning integration platform,
자동적으로
because it will be
진행을 하게
automatically
됩니다.
linked with
그리고
the
수업
NICE
개수 및
platform,
설계
all
부분에
of this will
있어서도
happen automatically.
시간표에 따라서
And in designing
자동적으로 개선이 될 것으로
class,
그렇게 보고
the
있습니다.
class will be
그리고
open
이
automatically.
수업을 준비하는 부분에 있어서
And
콘텐츠 부분에
regarding
있어서는
preparing for the
디지털 교수
class or
학습 통합
preparing
유통
for the
시스템을
content,
통해서
there will be the
관련 자료들을
integrated distribution system so
하게
that relevant
됩니다.
materials
그리고 세
can
번째는
be
수업을 진행을 하게 됩니다.
searched and
다양한
applied.
수업 방식으로
And
선택을
there will
할
be
수
various
있습니다. 이런
education
부분들에 있어서는
modalities.
저희가 통합 학습청을 별도로 제공을 할
And we
예정입니다.
are going to
또한
provide a
마지막으로 학습
separate
평가비 필요 부분에
learning
있어서도
window to do this. And in
디지털 교수
recording
학습 플랫폼을
the
통해서
students' academic
자동적으로
record,
진행을
this
할수
can
있도록
also be done
평가
using this
작성
integrated
근거를
platform.
명확하게
So
할
we will have a very
것입니다.
clear
이를 통해서
assessment
나이스의
tool
평가와
using,
기록이
that is done
이 기록에는
based on the
기록되고
clear
자동적으로
academic
학교 생활 기록부를 활용할 수
record.
있도록 그렇게 진행을
So it will be conveniently used to prepare
저희의 디지털 교수 학습 통합 플랫폼의 목표 부분입니다.
for the
첫째
class.
부분에 있어서는
Next has to do with the objective of the digital teaching and learning integration platform.
미래 교육을 준비를
So
지원하게
we
됩니다. 두 번째
will
부분에
be
있어서는
supporting the future educational
진영형
environment
AI 학습
by
분석
building
구현
this
방안을
integrated
마련하고자
platform.
합니다.
And we
이를
want
통해서
to
맞춤형 학습 격차를 해소를 할 수 있도록 그렇게
narrow
알려져
down
세 번째 부분에
a learning
있어서는
gap
교육
with this
생태계를
digital
조성하는
platform, and we want to
민간의
build
우수한
an
EdTech
educational
기술과
ecosystem
콘텐츠,
combining advanced
서비스를
technology in the private sectors along with the
콘텐츠와
advanced
함께
contents.
도입을 해서 활성화를 하고자 합니다.
And we
네 번째
want
부분에
to
있어서는
promote
통합 플랫폼
utilization
구축을
of this
위해서
advanced
클라우드
EdTech,
방식으로
and using a
진행을
cloud
하겠습니다.
method,
이를
this
위해서
will be provided.
마지막으로 법
And
제도적인
lastly,
측면에 있어서 개선안을
we will have to also deliver improvement to the existing regulations and policies. Next has to do with the service subject. So teachers and the students who are the users
원패스 인정을 통해서
will be logging in using one-pass certification in NICE, and then they will be logging into this integrated portal, and the teachers will be going to the teacher's home, and the students, they will be going into the student's home and the parents' home. Then there will be provided with the support service, learning support service, and the teachers, they can prepare for their class and conduct their class and conduct assessment and make records.
개인 스토리지에 자기가
And
활용하고
there's
하는
also
콘텐츠들을 저장, 운영, 관리를 할 수
store,
있도록 그렇게
operate,
지원을 하려고
and
합니다.
manage the contents up to 4 gigabytes.
업체 부분에 있어서는
And for the
선생님이나
EdTech
학생들이
companies,
원하는 콘텐츠 부분들을 먼저
we
저희가
are
기술
first
표준을
going
제시를
to
하면 거기에
propose the
맞춰서
technological
기술 개발을
standards
하고
of what
기술
students
개발된
and
것들을
teachers need, and the
바탕으로
companies will
해서
develop the
학교에서
technologies,
원하는 서비스를
and
제공을 할수
they
있도록 함으로써
are going to make
교통
sure that
생태계가
companies can provide the
조성될
contents
것으로
that
그렇게 보고 있습니다. 그리고
that is in need
연계를 위해서 그동안에 뭐 여러
by the
이터라든지
schools and
그다음에
teachers and
디지털
students,
교과서라든지
and things
그다음에
like
이
digital
학습과
textbooks or
클래스
e-learning,
부분들이 개별적으로
classroom,
서비스되는 것들을
what
통합을 해서
has been
한 번에
provided
로그인을 통해서
individually or
활용할 수 있도록
separately, we are going to
그렇게
consolidate
필요성을
this so that it can be used with the one access.
이 부분은 자료를 참고해 주시기 바랍니다.
And
시도교육청과
This is
연계하는
pretty much
부분에
self-explanatory,
있어서
so please read it
17개
later.
시도교육청이
And this one
개별적으로 진행하는
talks
부분들의
about
어떤 특장점들을
advantages and
특성에 맞게 진행을 하고
characteristics
디지털 교수학습 통합 플랫폼은
of
통합을 할 수
the
있는 것들은
services
통합을 하고
that is currently provided separately by the 17 metropolitan and provincial offices. So we are going to consolidate some of this so that the provincial, metropolitan provincial offices can do this efficiently to better support the students and teachers. And this is the characteristics or the special advantages of the platform. This is the largest scale, 50,000 teachers and the 16 million students nationwide. This is the target of the digital platform, and we will be owning a large database, and we are going to be linking this platform with the accounting system as well. And I think this will be the first in the world that does this. And the public and the private sector will be able to grow together. And through this platform, we will be able to build a foundation to foster future talents. And we will be able to fulfill the national task. Let me now tell you about the direction of digital teaching and learning integration platform by sector. So what has been dispersed now will be linked together and integrated together. And if we can provide class using this platform, then offline class and online classes will be supported through this kind of a digital environment, and through education support one pass with one login. People will be able to use this both in the private sector and the public sector, and like curriculum or the timetable or the courses will all be integrated. So parents, students, administrators, teachers
통합 포털을 통해서 들어오게 됩니다.
They will be logging into this portal, and then automatically within that integrated portal, they can use the EdTech service and enjoy high quality contents.
다음은 맞춤형 학습 환경
Next is realizing tailored learning environment.
학습창을 제공을 함으로써
So by providing this personalized learning window, they can design the class and search the data and engage and participate in the class activities.
다음은 수업에 대한 원스톱
Next
맞춤형 서비스 부분인데
is customized learning environment. I will skip this
이 부분에
slide.
있어서는 이제 학생 부분에 있어서 학습 활동 이력이나 결과물들이
So
누적으로
class
관리하게
progress
됩니다.
and
저희가
evaluation
목표하는 부분에
records
있어서는
will be
유치원으로부터
managed. So
고등,
for example,
중등,
from
고등까지의
pre
어떤 학습의
K
결과물들을
to the
한 곳에서
basic
개인
to
스토리지를
secondary,
통해서
there will be
제공을 할수
one
있도록
storage
해주시고,
so that this
포트폴리오도
information
학습
can be
포트폴리오도
provided, and in case
별도로
of a
제공을
learning
할
a portfolio, we also plan to provide this
그리고
as
객관화된
well.
학생부 기록을 위한 기초 자료도 제공을 하게
And we are
됩니다.
also going to provide the fundamental data or the materials
나이스와
about the academic
연계를
performance
해서
of students.
AI
So
빅데이터를
this will be
활용한
linked to NICE,
세계적인
and
학습
we will be
이력이
utilizing the AI
평가
data,
하게 될 것이고,
and
그걸
students
바탕으로
will be
해서
assessed and managed
맞춤형
accordingly, and
서비스와
based on
또
this, we'll be
그것을
able to
통한
provide the tailored
학생부 기록에 대한 기초 자료도
learning
제공을 하게 됩니다.
and students' records will be provided.
자료를 참고해 주시기 바랍니다. 통합 연계 구현 목표 부분은 자료 참고를
So
하도록
please refer to the slide for the
진행형
concept of
학생부
integrated
플랫폼
linkage
목표
of
부분입니다. 이
objectives.
부분에 있어서는 저희가
And
통합 학습창을
this slide
통해서
talks
학습을
about the
진행을
one-stop
하고
utilization of various
학습
information
이력을
types for
저장을
teaching
해서 저장된
and
것들을
learning.
빅데이터
So
분석을
we
해서
are going to use
그
services
빅데이터
like NICE
분석을
Education
된
for
것을
school
바탕으로
parents and
해서
career consultations,
AI를
and based
통해서
on the big
학생
data, we are going to leverage
수업을
AI
진행을 할수
and
있도록
then
컨텐츠와
conduct class
선생님의
that is
컨설팅을
tailored for the
제공을
students. So this will be a consulting service that will be provided to the
진행형
students,
학습
teachers,
플랫폼에
and
대한
parents.
이 학습 분석 목표 부분에 있어서는
And for the learning objectives, there is one at the micro level or the
이 개인 수준에서
macro nation
학습
level,
분석을
the
진행을
meso
할
institution
예정이고,
level, and
거기에
macro,
따라서
which is individual
수립을 하고
level. So we're going to
맞춤형으로
establish
시보들을 제공을 해서
a
아이가
goal
학습을
accordingly,
한
and then
내용
also
부분에
provide the
있어서
dashboard.
선생님,
So for what student has
학생이
learned, the
자기
teacher, parents,
이
and the
수업을
students
진행한 내용에 대해서 충분히
can
정보를 제공받을
have
수 있도록
can be
그렇게
provided
할
with an
예정입니다.
adequate
학습
information
내용도
about what
저희가
students has
모든
learned.
과목들을
And for all of
제공을 해서
subjects, we are going to
학습 맵을 통해서
provide a
개인화된
learning map
맞춤형
which
학습
is
지도가 가능할 수
tailored.
있도록 선생님을 도와드리려고
So we
계획을 수립해 나가고 있습니다.
are establishing a plan so that we can support the
자료를 참고해
teachers
주시기 바랍니다.
toward this
교육
direction.
생태계 부분에 있어서도
And
저희가
for the
민간
education
에듀테크
ecosystem,
이 기업들이
information distribution system,
정말 지금 부분에 있어서는 디지털 세상이라고 하지만
we are living in a
실제적으로
digital
그게
world.
학교로 들어오는 부분에 있어서는
However, if
많은
we
어려움이
think
있을 수 있습니다.
about
그런
the
부분들에
information that are
있어서 저희가
distributed to schools, there can be some
통해서
hurdles and
체계를
bottlenecks. So
구축하고
we want to
학교에서 원하는
establish an educational information distribution system so that
학교로 들어와서
appropriate
미래 교육을
services
위한
and contents can be
콘텐츠로 활용이 될
distributed
수
to the
있도록
school
그렇게
so that it can be used for future
절차를
education
통과하시기
contents. So you can refer to the slide for the procedures.
그리고 자연스럽게 이런 에드모를 통해서 홍보비 유통이
And
일어날 것으로
I'm
그렇게
sure
보고
that
있습니다.
there will be a
인프라
distribution
부분에
that
있어서는
will take
그동안에
place naturally using this kind of
지도교육청에서
process.
또는 KERIS에서 운영하는 부분들이 콘텐츠가
In
이
using the
학습을
KERIS,
통해서 이제 원격 교육을 서비스를 할 때
in providing remote services,
몰림으로써
there are a lot of students and the teachers that log in at the same time, significantly increasing the traffic. So we are going to introduce hybrid cloud system so that we can deal with the sudden surge of the users.
이 부분에 있어서는 자료를 참고해 주시기
And
바랍니다.
I will skip this
그리고
slide.
17개 시도 교육청
And for the 17 metropolitan offices and the Ministry of Education and many institutions will be using this. So
클라우드를 전체적으로 통합 운영을 할 수 있도록 함으로써
we are going to use a cloud for consolidated management to maximize the operational efficiency so that it can be used conveniently. This is a proposal for the usage of the platform.
그 블렌디드 수업 학습 환경 이용 모습 부분에 있어서는 왼쪽에 학습
So you
수업
can see
환경이
on
이렇게
the left-hand
미래
side
학교 모습으로
of
최신의 이 PC라든지 태블릿을
image
통해서
that shows
구축이 될
the
것이고
blended
그걸 바탕으로
class
해서
in future.
이 수업을 진행을 하게 되면
So when students
미래에
participate in the class using this kind of a tablet, the
수업,
interactive
자료
class,
수업,
the
이런
group
것들을
class,
원활하게
the
진행할 수
projects,
있을 것으로
all that will
그렇게
be able to
저희가 설계를 하고 있습니다.
be realized in an
이
efficient
부분은
manner.
예시로서
And this, with that in mind, we are designing our platform.
활용 수업 자료 제작을 하게 되면
And
기본적으로
when we
선생님이
make the training contents for this EdTech, teachers,
콘텐츠를 구매를 하게 되면
when they
그걸 바탕으로
purchase the
해서
service
이제
or contents at
엄청
school,
대단한 도구를 구매하게 됩니다.
they will also
그리고
be
그
purchasing the
부분에
voice
있어서 이 목소리 부분을
transfer
선생님이 샘플로
tool,
녹음을 하게
and
되면
then if
수업
teacher
자료 내용을
record his or her
작성을 하게
voice,
되고 그
and
작성된
they will
내용을
design
바탕으로
their
해서 엄청 대단한 도구를
class
이용해서
materials, and then we will be
개인
using that
저장소에 저장을 하게 됩니다. 그러면
conversion,
그걸 바탕으로
voice
선생님이
conversion
수업을
technology,
진행을 하고
and the
학생들은
teacher will be
교사의
conducting his or
목소리를
her
바탕으로
class,
해서
and then
목소리가 들어가
students
있는 콘텐츠를 활용한 이 자기 주도적 학습을 할
can
수 있을 것이고
utilize the
수업도
contents
진행을 할 수 있을
and
것으로
conduct
그렇게
self-inductive training,
이
self-directed
부분은
training
참고를 해주시면
or learning.
마지막으로 기본적으로 이 대한민국 교육을 위해서는
For
2000년도에
education of Korea,
교무 학사 시스템이 있습니다.
There's
그것을
a
개발을 해서
education
교사 학습 통합 플랫폼을
there
저희가
is digital
설계를 해서 올
teacher
11월까지
learning
ISMP를
platform.
진행을 하고
So we will be doing
내년에
ISMP until October this
3월
year, and
달부터
starting from March of
테스트를
2024,
6개월간
we
한
will be
학기 동안
conducting a
진행을
pilot
하게 되면
for 6 months.
24년
And then
9월에
in September of
첫 시스템을
2024,
오픈을
we
하게
will be able to
그리고 2000년도에
open the system for the
15년
first time.
3월달에
And then in
다시
2015 March,
서비스를
we
진행을
will
하게
be
되고
able
그걸
to
바탕으로
move on to
하면
the second phase of the rollout.
로그인은
Then
나이스에서
the
교육
people will be
과정이나
logging into NICE,
수업 시간표나
and
학생에
the
대한
class
정보는
timetable
나이스를
or the
통해서
student
교사
information
통합 플랫폼으로 연결이 되고
will be
그러면
linked to
선생님들은
the
그걸 바탕으로
teacher
해서
learning
수업을
platform
진행을
through
하게
NICE,
되고
and the teachers
그걸
will be able to
활용을
conduct the class
해서
based on this.
이 수업을 진행을 하기 위한 수업을 준비할 때
And when teacher
K-Edu
prepare
통해서
for class,
콘텐츠에 대한
they can log into
서비스에
KEDU
대한
Find
비용을 지불하는 행태를
and
해서
pay the service for using
로그인으로부터
EdTech.
수업에
So
대한
from
마무리까지를
login to the
교육
completion of
시스템을 통해서 진행하는
courses, they
완성이 될
can
것으로
be
그렇게
done
기대를
one stop using this EdTech system.
저희가 준비를 한 디지털 교사 학습
I've
통합
explained to
플랫폼에
you
대한
about our
를 마치도록
integrated digital platform for teaching and learning. That's the end of my presentation.
해주셔서 대단히
Thank you
감사드립니다.
for your
고맙습니다.
attention.
너무나 세세하게 잘 설명을 해주셨습니다.
Thank you.
디지털 교수 학습 통합 플랫폼 구축,
Mr. Lee,
권한에 대한
he talked about the current status of the development of integrated digital platform for teaching and learning.
두 번째 발표자.
Let us move on to the next presentation. And the speaker is Mr. Colin Marson, Director from Google for Education. Unfortunately, Mr. Marson wasn't able to attend the forum in real time, and he sent us pre-recorded video on the topic of digital platforms connecting everyone, every technology for the future of education.
Hi there, my name is Colin Marson, and I look after Google for Education for the APAC region. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this event. I was up in Korea just a few weeks ago, and it was so exciting to see the pace of change in education there. AI in particular is being embraced by the Korean education system at a rate that I've not witnessed anywhere else in the world. That's both in terms of teaching students about AI, as well as leveraging AI to support learning. So today I'll share with you some brief thoughts on this topic, as well as introduce you to some of the related work we're doing at Google for Education. And I hope to see some of you in person when I come up to Korea next.
We do not grow when things are easy. We grow when we are faced with challenges.
เด็กก็เรียนที่ไหนก็ได้ครูก็สอนที่ไหนก็ได้เราเชื่อว่าความสามารถของครูเราที่มีพร้อมกับเทคโนโลยีที่มาช่วยยกระดับการเรียนรู้สร้างนิยามใหม่ให้กับโรงเรียนของเรา
School for me is a place for discovery.
A second home. Sekolah bukan hanya tempat untuk mengejar ijazah, tetapi sekolah adalah tempat yang menyenangkan untuk mengembangkan potensi siswa.
So Google for Education began with a mission to empower educators and students to teach, to learn, and to collaborate from anywhere. As our technology advances and as educators and students use of our tools has grown, we're able to take things a step further. We're dedicated to supporting the connection between educators and students with technology that not only enables teaching, learning, and collaboration, but will also help to amplify educators' impact as well. So it's our goal to help educators transform teaching and learning for everyone. And that means providing a platform for each school to have the time, the tools, and the materials they need to create impactful teaching and learning environments that are right for every individual student. So we empower educators with the tools to create innovative and impactful teaching environments to drive outcomes for every student, no matter who they are, where they're learning from, or what their individual goals might be. So having spent a lot of time in the classroom as a student, as a teacher, and as an observer across the US, Asia, and Europe, one thing that struck me is the level of creativity that happens in the classroom. So when we talk about innovation, people typically think about startups, or they think about large tech companies like Google. But what I've seen consistently is that in every classroom, both teachers and students are innovating. Why? Well, both teaching and learning are personal journeys. And at Google for Education, we see our role as supporting that classroom and individual level innovation and customization. So we're committed to work alongside you to help build and inform the tools and systems that are needed for more inclusive and equitable learning environment. These tools really make a difference. I remember the first time that I was studying an Asian language, and I'm probably dating myself here, but I had to look up characters one by one in a physical dictionary, which was not easy. So today, I would be using AI-powered tools like Google Translate to help with translation, with comprehension, and with vocabulary building. We believe AI can enhance teaching and learning with individualized support at scale. For a number of years, I was a strategy consultant. So I love data, and I'm happy to admit that I'm a bit of a data geek. So this is where individualized support like Explore function in Google Sheets provides me that type of amazing richness. I love the suggested formulas and the patterns in data that's able to surface, and the fact that it creates graphs for me. I wish I had had that in school or in my previous parts of my work career. Like Sheets do for me, AI-powered tools will help educators make a bigger impact in the classroom. And they'll help meet students where they are. So lessons and assignments can be more interactive, giving students the opportunity to immerse themselves in the idea. With our latest AI-driven technology, students have the power to be active navigators, to take agency in their own learning process. To do this, we first need to talk about AI and machine learning. So AI is the science of making things smart, and machine learning is a technique used to develop AI. They allow us to process large amounts of data and make it useful. Today we can do that at a scale previously unheard of. And we brought these capabilities into many of our education tools. So one of my favorites is using quizzes in Google Forms, the suggested answers that are automatically populated. It's a massive time saver. To be honest, sometimes the answers are actually better than some of the answers that I thought of myself. It's also found in everyday tools from Google Maps to Google Search. You may not even realize how many times you've already used AI or machine learning today. You can read more about our AI principles at ai.google/principles. So Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. I know that I use Google Search to provide insights into the world around me countless times daily. And AI is helping us do that in exciting new ways, solving problems for people around the world. We have a history of being leaders in AI technology. From 2011, when we established Google Brain, our research team devoted to AI. That AI technology is a lot. For example, it helps those with atypical speech to communicate faster and to gain independence. And it helps give you the highest quality results in your Google searches. Now we're making big strides in applying AI technology to help shape the future of education. I'd love to tell you about an app that we released 3 years ago based on this AI technology that truly taps into equity for learners around the globe. It's called Read Along. So Read Along engages young learners as they learn to read, helping them improve their reading skills while having fun with Dia, their in-app reading buddy. So Dia listens to them, read aloud, offers support when they struggle, and rewards them with stars when they do well. She inspires confidence and a love of reading in a student-friendly environment. So let's take a look.
My name is Martha Lade. I am happily married to a wonderful husband and we live in the Solo area of Lagos State. I'm a computer engineer and most of my work revolves around working with women and girls in technology. Williams is the third of our 3 kids. He is 10 years old now, very energetic and very funny. Growing up, Williams had some struggles reading. At 9, he was still struggling. He began to lose confidence in reading. I was really, really worried. We bought books for him. We changed his school, but nothing worked. During the COVID-19 lockdown, Google actually came up with various initiatives to keep parents and children engaged. I came across a tweet that there was going to be a webinar for parents and children on online safety. During the course of the webinar, the presenter talked about Read Along, and I asked, what is Read Along? And she explained that it's a reading app for children. Immediately after the webinar, I installed the app. I gave the phone to Williams and introduced the app to him. To my surprise, Williams embraced the app. The reading assistant was very, very, friendly. And from someone who is not able to read more than 3 minutes, Williams reads up to 90 minutes at a stretch.
Try to help us start this time.
The ball is blue.
Great reading, that was fast.
Williams now reads books that he had discarded before. I am more confident about William's future because he can read well. Not just reading well, he now loves to read. It has put my heart at rest. I want to encourage parents who probably have children struggling to read to take advantage of this app so that their children can learn at their own pace.
So we're so proud of the fact that Williams and more than 20 million students have been working with DIA to read almost 100 million stories. So DIA has been very busy. We just launched the web version of Read Along into public beta. We don't yet have the Korean version launched, but we are working on that. And already today, it's being used to support students who are learning English as a second language. Educators have long given students customized resources and activities to address their unique learning needs. What's new is applying recent AI advances to this concept, like what you saw with Read Along, which opens up a whole new set of possibilities to transform education. Our definition of adaptive learning technology is it enables educators to provide scaled, individualized support. So let me ground that in an example that I'm particularly excited about. So a tool we're launching in a limited testing phase in Korea right now that is really harnessing the best of this adaptive learning technology is called practice sets. It's a new feature coming to Google Classroom and allows teachers to create interactive assignments and provide students with real-time feedback. So it's currently not available in Korean. However, we are processing and preparing for localization. Here's how practice set works. Let's say a student is stuck on a math problem. Instead of growing frustrated like I do with math problems sometimes, the student receives a helpful hint or a video. The student realizes their opportunity for growth and understanding, completes the math problem, and feels more confident in their ability to learn. One educator who tested this feature said that the instant feedback that kids received was like having a teaching aid in the classroom at all times. The technology helped give students one-to-one attention and validation, so they knew how to approach a problem, and it drove students' intrinsic motivation and engagement through the roof. The kids were calling it Google Magic. The instant feedback was a game changer for building student confidence. Now, we want to work in partnership with educators like you to build the tools and solutions that work best for you. So with resources like practice sets in Google Classroom, the formerly time-consuming but important feedback loop does not exclude the teacher, but rather provides learning data directly to the teacher in order to show what they may need to reteach or indicate when to push individual learners forward. This allows the teacher to focus on the work that they do best, building strong coaching relationships, supporting learner growth with humanity and empathy, and inspiring learners to achieve more than they thought themselves capable of. This is where the true magic of education happens. So across the region, we've collaborated with ministries of education and boards of education, as well as leading universities to research the impact of Google for Education tools on teaching and learning, including some of these AI-enriched tools. Now, our Korean study was conducted in collaboration with Seoul National University and professors there, as well as 3 schools in Korea. And the results show that Google for Education tools help teachers in terms of time efficiency in work and teaching activities. It brought positive changes to students' learning activities and effectively supported class management, feedback, and communication. So we can look at some of these findings. Most notably, 80% of the teachers found that it saved times and some of their key activities really improved their efficiency. When looking at the impact of our tools on teaching, and specifically with regard to teachers' use of work time, the most common answer was that using Google Solution saves me time in areas of teaching, in individual planning or preparation of lessons, in general administrative work like communication and paperwork, in teamwork and dialogue with colleagues, and other activities. So we saw this sort of increase in efficiency. And we've seen that in other countries as well. In one recent study, we found that teachers were saving on average 1 hour per day in just efficiency gains. And that was an hour they could use for supporting students or for spending more time with their families at home. On the student side as well, what we've seen is that there's been a lot more engagement. So when we looked at what happened with students who started to use these tools, they were able to collaborate much more effectively and able to engage in class a lot more. And that was particularly notable for example, students maybe who were not as active or maybe a little bit more shy. Their level of collaboration, the level of participation was significantly higher. One good source of inspiration for all of us at Google for Education is Chungwon Hachun Elementary School. This school is located in the outskirts of Chungwon, and the entire school is quite small, has 49 students in 6 grades, and is administratively classified as a remote school. So usually when you think of remote school, you think of it as a place where a few marginalized children live in a very remote place. However, Hachun Elementary School used Google Workspace to create an educational environment where local conditions did not become an obstacle to education by continuing various activities and active communication. The school wanted to create an environment where not only classes, but also all daily activities were connected through Google Workspace. As a result, the school created a culture where everyone naturally participated and collaborated without students being marginalized due to local conditions, living environment, income disparity, and private education. So one teacher, Sung-Young Lim, explained that with the introduction of Google Workspace, we've established a culture where students are the subject of education. All school activities led to evaluation and support of the process rather than the result. It was created as a portfolio that was systematically accumulated over a period of 1 year, not thrown away. So it really does change the nature of the collaboration and the way that the school participate or students participate in education. We'd love to have you join us to see some of this magic happening. Please do sign up for our adaptive learning coffee chat session here. So you can see the QR code on October 28th. Our customer engineer, Christine Ha, will be leading the session. I feel very privileged to have a front row seat to the wave of innovation and strides that Google, as well as the education technology industry more generally, is making in everyday adaptive technology. I'm so excited about the opportunity that this technology affords us to create time for our educators to do what they do best, and to support students to be able to engage more and succeed. We're in such an incredible time where technology is going to continue to support and enhance the learning journey for all our students. So it's been a pleasure to be here virtually. So thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to continuing the conversation in Korea when I come there next.
네, 발표 잘 들었습니다. 발표 영상으로
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Marson. Of course, he wasn't able to join us in real time, but you can still write your comments about his presentation on the YouTube channel. So we are having discussions on the digital platform for education, and also we learned about the tools that Google for Education provides. Now let us move on to the next presentation. After listening to this presentation, we will entertain your questions.
We have Mr. Dongjun Kim, who is a teacher at Sosabar Elementary School, and under the theme of looking forward to a change in the learning platform for all in one class. We will hear from speaker Kim Dong-chun.
지금 발표자는 준비를 하고 계십니다. Looking forward to a change in the learning platform for the all-in-one 시리즈라는 주제로 발표를 함께 하도록 하겠습니다. 저희가 지금
Mr. Dong-Jung Kim will be delivering a presentation looking forward to a change in the learning platform for all-in-one class. He was checking the system. So are you ready? Okay, then we will proceed. He is a teacher at Sosabu Elementary School at the moment, so he has a high expectation for the all-in-one class. So are you ready to deliver your presentation? Then we will. Are you ready, Mr. Kim? Okay. I'd like to ask for your presentation.
안녕하세요. 경기 소사불 초등학교
Hello,
교사
I am a
김동준입니다.
teacher at Sosabu Elementary
All-in-one
School.
클래스라는 그런 개념으로 저의 경험에 입각한
So
그런
based on my
이야기를
experience, I would like
들려드릴까
to
생각하고
deliver a presentation on all-in-one class.
과거의 ICT
Smart education, ICT, technology, digital textbooks, software education, artificial intelligence, metaverse. So there are a lot of EdTech related advanced learning tools nowadays. So these existed in the past, but why didn't we utilize, even though we guided people to use this kind of EdTech environment and tools, why do we find this kind of far distant from this? I think the COVID-19 was a crisis. The classroom was about to be halted and the education was about to be suspended. But I think it offered us at the same time an opportunity to innovate the way we conduct our education. I want to start my presentation by looking at the infrastructure. So I'm talking about the human resource and the facility, environment, and also a capability. With the COVID-19 pandemic, we realized that this is a big crisis. Why? Because the school opening was delayed. And people began to think, what's going to happen? Are we going to keep students at home, and how long will it last? So many educators got together and tried to come to a responsive plan. They decided to come up with a kuromi, a school learning kit for students, and then they also tried to embed the learning materials on websites or portals, and then there was people thought that students need to get back to school, so they got back to school online. And the main concern was that when the classes was conducted online, there was a face-to-face interaction with students. But now that that face-to-face interaction was halted, people tend to think about how can make this kind of interaction realized in online. So depending on the outcome of students, the teachers had to provide feedbacks. So it was difficult to build up into online classes from the beginning. So using Salimto, we tried to deliver this kind of same effect. The students in the rural areas, in order to support the students in the rural areas, this cyber class was operated or provided to the students, and this sustained itself. And this was being operated as a platform called eHak습터. And because we did have this kind of a public education system, this served as a tool to communicate with students. Not all schools utilize these tools. However, many schools use the private companies' tools. So there were various kinds of platforms that existed at the time, but this eHak습터 platform and one way, it was more of a one-way guidance, but for a two-way interaction, we used a learning community called the Widrang, or we wanted to provide high-quality videos to students. but it was a high capacity and high resolution. So we then started to use YouTube, and we was developed further, and we wanted to continue the relationship with the students online. So that is why it resulted in the real-time interactive classroom. So that has evolved in such way and had some advantages and disadvantages. And we have always worked for the best in this COVID-19 pandemics. So with this real-time interactive classroom, rather than one-way class, teachers started to interact with students, and in this process, another tool was applied. So the learning materials and the outcome of the learnings was received, and the teachers provided instant feedback to students, and then teachers came to be interested in real-time evaluation. And although this wasn't an offline classroom, the online classroom materials or contents began to be utilized much more than before, and teachers started paying more attention and have more interest in this online material. So it is good that the records can be accumulated and then managed for feedback, and at the same time students can upload their outcomes, and then it would be good if there is a tool to give feedback for other students' outcomes. So that is why other kinds of tools that enable this were also developed. Over the past 2 years, I think we are seeing COVID-19 pandemic leveling up, and now there is a high expectation about the digital innovative education at school. And for example, a space like classroom, so we can't completely reshape the classroom, but if there is some available space, then students can and teachers can use the advanced technology to deliver a better learning experience. So there have been a lot of these ideas that have been put into reality. For example, on the front and back or side, the lockers were introduced to, and various kinds of devices were put into those lockers. And smart TV, because the size of the smart TV is rather small, it's not really easy to read what's on the screen. So electronic board were installed on the front, and also electronic or digital tables were introduced to the classroom. And rather than just sitting on the chair during the classroom, depending on the objective of the course, their sitting arrangements could change. And if there are more space, there can be a space for creative activities. So this is what's happening now in the classrooms. And during this period, teachers received the capability, made a lot of efforts to improve their capabilities or expertise. There is a professional community in our area. In the past, it was more of a one way, but nowadays the stakeholders get together and then they talk about their common objective, and then they conduct experiment together, and they deliver presentation, and they share what they've learned. And with the COVID-19, people participated on the training course that had to do with reinforcing capability in the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is true that the offline training is much more effective than the online. But due to the time and space constraint, just like 지식 Center, we conducted this kind of online interactive training course. So we have a high expectation for this online training platform. And let me explain to you, based on my experience, what kind of EdTech or platform was used. So there are various platforms So we have uploaded this in eHaksuto, Widrang, so it's posted on Widrang, and we can put the students' works in Widrang and then provide appropriate feedbacks to students. And there is a tools like Smart Class or worksheets. So we'll be making a form where students can enter into, and then they can see what matches, and they can identify mismatches, and this can be used for evaluation. So it's not up to the level where five-dimensional assessment is possible, but if this continues to develop, then I think we'll be able to offer assessment results based on AI. And Padlet and Think Bellboard are some of the tools that enable interactive or two-way communication. So we did have this kind of services before the COVID pandemic. We have been operating this service for 15 years, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers became very much accustomed to using this service, but there's a cost issue because this is developed by operated by the foreign company. There are some payment or settlement issue as well, and there is this kind of tool which is very useful for students to exchange opinions. So amid the pandemic, our public system has been upgraded, and we have been deriving some improvement points for teachers, but the private companies, they have been working hand in hand to deliver improvements. So this is a Think Bellboard. So it was fine-tuned for Korean teachers and students. It was refined, so it's being utilized well by the students and teachers. And we also have the community platform for teachers where teachers can design the contents and upload it. So until now, teachers were using the YouTube, but there are non-education related issues for the YouTube. So that is why there was a ITA platform, and there's a Google Classroom and MS or Classting or High Class, which is a platform that are used to communicate with parents. And for each of the publisher, they will put this kind of content, and they made applied a smart school concept into their platform. One thing that is regrettable is I'm going to be talking more about this in the end, but they tried to put in too much content. So I'm sure that they did it for students and parents, but because they tried to put too much content, it was not utilized enough. And the concept of metaverse was introduced. There are some issue with the metaverse, age issue, and how can we apply metaverse in the classroom when the face-to-face class learning takes place. So it's difficult to reach a conclusion at the moment, but that and other metaverse is being used nowadays, and this has created a metaverse boom. So there has been a lot of useful activities that took place in classrooms. So there were a lot of activities that were offered which helped students to have a better understanding about AI and teachable machines. So students could have a better understanding through watching the image and hearing the sound. And there were some realistic contents like AR and VR. So within the classroom settings, the students were able to have an experience that goes beyond the physical limitation. And they were able to be involved in the VR experiences. And as students coming back to school, there are a lot of activities that are making place using this kind of EdTech platforms. So I think we will have to continue to provide this kind of tools to schools. So there are a lot of movements that are taking place to provide more in-depth evaluations. So this portfolio is managed in more structured and systematic way, and the discussion is also taking place online, and the real-time evaluation is being enabled through Socrative evaluation and quizzing. So all these tools are being used to improve the evaluation, and this is one of the things that teachers regard as a positive change. Lastly, I would like to tell you my expectation for all-in-one class. So a lot of this is based on my experience. So I'm sure there are people that don't agree with me. So this is mainly divided into 4 parts. First is account management. So a lot of the issue is related to account management. Many teachers express frustration that they forgot their ID or password. So why is EdTech, even though a lot of devices has been distributed to school, why is not really taking off? I think it's because there is no infrastructure. There isn't sufficient infrastructure that are built in place. So when that issue happens, teachers tend to think about how they can fix this issue. Then why the teacher have to bother about this kind of issue rather than fully concentrating and teaching the students? So because teachers' role is to teach the students, it's up to them to choose what they should teach. But with the distribution of EdTech, if there's no issue and if it's really efficient, then it can be used by all the teachers. So I think we should always keep this in mind. So that is why nowadays people are saying that we should develop one PES ID. So if by knowing one account ID, it can be used for accessing various different services. And another concern is that it will be good if the platform has only the essential features. The purpose of the public system is when you look at the students in classroom, there will be like a student information or the student's grades. And all of this are personal data or public data. So using private company is good, but we also have to consider the consequences when this kind of public information is provided to private companies. So it is very important to secure the information safely. So instead of trying to put too many features into the platform, first we have to have a better understanding about what teachers truly need. Like Jembel, everyone agrees on the need for a mutual or two-way communication. So it will be good to have a feature that enables this. And another feature that is needed is like a making tool. So Canva or Miris or Webtoon, there is a tool called Tuning. So these kind of various services exist. So it has to be a tool where it is easy to make and simple to use, and that doesn't infringe copyright. So we need to first identify the demands from the teacher's side before building in these essential features, and we need to have a UI aligned with the change in time. So drag and drop is very common. However, if you look at the public system, there is no drag and drop, so we have to do a click many times. So if we have this kind of more convenience or better UI built in, then I think teachers will be able to use them much more easily and conveniently. So rather than trying to put in difficult features that are difficult to use, then teachers won't be able to. It'll be difficult for the teachers to learn in 1 to 2 days of training how to use those features. So it's very important for the teachers to find out about or learn those features and make recommendations if necessary, because they're the ones who will be using this in classrooms. So they have to constantly provide feedbacks and provide feedback on ways to use this conveniently, not just by the teachers, but also by the students, and so that this service can be evolved to a service that's really helpful and useful. So we are building the next generation platform. It's very important for them to have the close ears to the voices in the field, and request. They also have to show commitment to deliver improvement by listening to the voices of teachers and students. And it's very important to work hand in hand. And then I am sure that we will be able to build more satisfactory classroom. Thank you for your presentation. He has shared his experiences about building K-Edu integration platform that has various features. He is working as an e학습터 and digital 교과서 and 지식셉터 support group of the Ministry of Education. And he is also involved in researching to utilize online, offline EdTech class. Thank you for your insightful presentation. We are in our third session. We only have 3 minutes left. Thank you for your cheering remarks. Dongji Kim, you said that it was very easy to understand because you share with us your experiences. And Colin, Marson, you weren't able to participate real time, but I can see how well you prepare for your presentation. Thank you for wonderful PPT and your insightful presentation that was written by a person named Jung. Thank you all for your feedbacks and comments. So we will start the Q&A now.
The first question is directed to Mr. Lee Jung-seok. So we have the integrated platform, and when do you think we'll be able to use that platform? And for preparing the classroom teaching, how do we utilize other school attendance programs that can substitute the existing system? Thank you very much for your question.
It was developed in 2013, and then in 2000, it will be running a pilot program starting from 2023, and then starting from the second semester of 2023, the pilot will begin, and then from February of 2025, the second phase development will start. So the development will be completed in March, and then it will. This is our plans. And among the question, there was a question related to the attendance. I said that we are trying to link this with the NICE platform. So the NICE platform deals the things that is related to the academic records and the teachers' records. And as we conduct online and offline courses, so we will be using the NICE for the attendance, but for the blended learning, we will have to use the digital integration platform. And we are currently reviewing our policy of using this digital integration platform for managing the attendance of both online and offline. So in the second semester of 2024 and by the first semester of 2025, I think the issue or the question that was just raised will be able to be addressed. So it's not much time is left, right? So within the next 2 to 3 years, you're saying that we'll be able to use this services. So I can see that you have a phased approach for the development and improvement. And if this integration platform is open, then there will be a lot of many various activities that will take place. So let's try to make well use of the big wave of digital transformation. Thank you for your feedback. And various learning materials. It'd be good if there's a feature to copy and paste this learning materials in this integration platform. You think that this will be developed as well? Yes. Right. The students' need and the teachers' need is very important. And the need has to do with about using the EdTech, but what's really important is for teachers to develop a lot of high-quality content. So regarding the content, it's very important to have a community where teachers can share the content. So we do have a plan to build that kind of community for teachers. So in the elementary school, I think teachers are using those communities a lot, but the pre-K and the secondary education and the basic education, teachers need to utilize this kind of communities more. So pre-K and the basic education and the secondary and in this sector, we are going to build the contents encouraging teachers to form this kind of community, and we're going to make sure that these contents are provided to the students so that they can utilize this for their self-learning. I can see how actively the Ministry of Education is supporting to improve education in Korea. Now, I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Kim. I fully agree with what you said. I think teachers need a collective confidence. So in establishing the environment, and the one that's actually operating this is teacher and students. So I think a strong support from Ministry of Education is required. I'd like to emphasize that one more time. Strong support from Ministry of Education is needed. And this was posted by Hello Cabot. So I have a question from Hello Cabot again. So I think Mr. Kim from Sosabe Elementary School has shared a very useful presentation that can be disseminated to other schools. So can you share with us what should be applied to other schools? So I think building consensus is very important. So I think the big challenge is earning or building consensus of other teachers. I personally was very lucky because the vice principal and the principal fully agreed and he provided the full support, and I was able to work together with teachers in setting the directions. And we were able to work together to make it work. I think what's really important is to have a very candid conversation with the relevant people and only build this based on what's really needed. And this needs full backing from the school and the Ministry of Education. As you saw earlier, what is a thing that teachers really need at the moment? A good microphone or high quality video, or some people are saying that because they have to talk all the time, the microphone is very difficult. So if we can improve this, we can provide better learning experience for students. So instead of having a negative perception, we really need to have listen closely to teachers' comments, and if we cooperate closely or coordinate closely with the schools, I think we'll be able to deliver improvement one by one. So just like Mr. Kim said, Ministry of Education will closely listen to teachers' opinion. I fully agree with you, and I will make more efforts to listen to what teachers say. And you asked for 4 things in managing the accounts. I agree. I personally find it very inconvenient to manage like many different accounts. So with Digital One Pass, we are going to try to resolve this issue. And for the essential features, of course, it has to be a feature that is really needed by the teachers. So we will make sure to select the features that are really needed by the teachers. And concerning the UI, we will try to reduce many clicks that has to be involved. So we will try to incorporate drop features or copy and paste. So we will try to build more convenient UI. And lastly is the personal storage. The teachers, we are thinking 100 gigabyte and 4 gigabyte for students, so that students' work can be stored in this personal storage space so that it can be used whenever it's needed.
So we have a really good backup, I think. So thank you very much for your being attentive to what people have to say. Kim wrote that this is a really good idea. I hope they will be embraced by schools in Korea as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we are once again running out of time for the Q&A session. Unfortunately, the second speaker was not able to join the Q&A session live, but also participants shared cheering messages for the session presenters. And one person wrote for the second speaker's presentation. He really enjoyed the presentation, and the mission of creating equitable environment of Google for Education is really impressive. And as an educator and teacher, I really share the mission. Once again, thank you very much for your active participation. And again, for this session, we were able to have active discussions between the participants and the presenters. Once again, thank you very much for your participation today. So that was TRACK-A3. We had discussions on the digital platforms from Korea and other countries, and we also had discussions on the future education direction. We'll have to wrap up this session, and before we move on to the next session, we'll have a short break. Next is session A-4, and the topic of the session is Learning Together for a Better World, ODA Learning Globalization Project. After the fourth session, we'll take a 10-minute break and then have a keynote speech. So I'll see you again in 10 minutes.